Well, good morning. Today, the third part of a course in Advanced Microeconomics begins. As you know, this third part is devoted to general equilibrium theory. For technical reasons, I prefer to have my lessons in this recorded way. However, I shall fix an hour for the discussion of contents of these lessons in which we can speak, you can pose questions, and I shall answer. The text, the general text is the usual microeconomic theory by Mascolel and others. However, we shall see only chapter 15 of the book by Mascolel, the introductory chapter to general equilibrium theory. The main theorems must be studied on my notes. General equilibrium theory. These notes will be on the platform, Moodle platform, so you can read them in that form. Well, let us begin with an introduction, an historical introduction of a subject. You are accustomed to partial equilibrium theory. Do you remember? You have a good, you trace the demand function and the supply function, DOP, SOP as usual, and then you compute the equilibrium price, if it exists, of course, and the relative equilibrium quantity. We have equilibrium when demand is equal to supply. That tells when all individual plans regarding this good, to buy or to sell this good, are mutually compatible. This is the traditional Marshallian analysis of partial equilibrium. However, when you trace these functions, you suppose, usually, that the prices of all other goods are given. Why? Because the form of these curves depends not only on the price of the corresponding good, but also on all the other prices. When, for example, the price of another good changes, for example, increases, if there is a substitutability, the demand of this good will change, and will become d prime of p. This is a well-known phenomenon of interdependence between markets. The demand and the supply of any good depends not only on the price of that good, but on all the price system. So, when you are in this point, with the price P star and the quantity Q star, you know that all the individual plans regarding this good are compatible, but nothing is certain about what happens on all the other markets. Since the prices of all the other goods are given at whatever levels, we are not guaranteed that in all the other markets there exists equilibrium as well. So the general plans of individuals could not be compatible, because for another good, for example, there is a positive excess of demand or a negative excess of demand. And so it is not possible to sell or to buy the planned quantities because there is not equilibrium on the other markets. So the problem arises. It is possible to find a price system P where N is the total number of goods in the economy, such that, according to this price system, every market is in equilibrium. This is the fundamental problem of general equilibrium analysis. To find a price system which guarantees equilibrium, equality between demand and supply for every good in the same time, with regard to the same price system. The problem is difficult, substantially because, as I told you a moment ago, the demand and supply curves of every good depends also on the prices of all the other goods. Historically, the first author to study general equilibrium theory is the French economist Léon Van Rass. He wrote in 1874-77 his fundamental work, Leçons d'économie politique pure, in which he studied exactly this problem, substantially for the first time. If you read the work of Arras, you find that this author set the problem by writing a set of equations. Some of these equations describe the behavior of the households, of the firms, and so on, of individual subjects. Some others state the equality between demand and supply for every good. So, in other terms, general economic equilibrium. Arras wrote this system of equations, simultaneous equations, by the interdependence of the various markets, and found that the number of unknowns which are present in this system is exactly equal to the number of equations. Which is these unknowns? Clearly, the prices, the price system, but also the demanded and supplied quantities by every subject. This is the set of unknowns. And the number of unknowns is exactly equal to the number of equations. So, Varras concluded, since this equality holds, it is clear that a solution to this problem, in principle, exists. In other terms, he deduced the existence of a solution of a problem of general equilibrium by simply counting the number of equations and the number of unknowns, and by proving that these numbers are equal. As it is well known, this equality is neither sufficient nor necessary in order to have a solution to the problem of general equilibrium theory. An economically meaningful solution, so to speak. In order to prove the existence of equilibrium, as we shall see in a moment, there are necessary some very powerful mathematical instruments. Without them, a general proof of existence of equilibrium is impossible. However, Varras limited himself to state this equality. The same you find in the fundamental works of Italian economist Wilfredo Pareto, the Cours d'économie politique, written in French in 1896, and the Manuale di Economia Politica, written in Italian in 1906. In these two works, Pareto, following Varras, but from the point of view of the proof of existence of equilibrium, also Pareto limited himself to state this equality. No substantial progress you find in the works of Pareto if you limit yourself to a problem of existence of an equilibrium, a general economic equilibrium. However, the works of Pareto is fundamental because he was the first to prove rigorously the efficiency of equilibrium. As you know from the elementary courses of microeconomics, the general equilibrium allocation of goods is a Pareto optimum, as we speak today. Pareto optimum is a situation, well known, in which it is impossible to ameliorate the condition of every subject. The proof of that general economic equilibrium is a Pareto optimum, both for consumption and for production, was given exactly by Wilfredo Pareto. This is the main contribution by Pareto to general equilibrium theory. After Varras and Pareto, there were not a great contribution to general equilibrium theory until the 1930s. About this time, two eminent mathematicians, Walden and von Neumann, reconsidered the problem of general economic equilibrium and gave an elementary proof of the existence of equilibrium by introducing suitable hypotheses about demand and supply of goods. Von Neumann is one of the founders of game theory. He used the same mathematical instruments, both in game theory and the proof of existence of equilibrium theory. The contribution of Walden von Neumann is important because for the first time they considered the so-called free disposal equilibrium, an equilibrium in which not all the available quantities of goods are employed by the subject as consumption goods or as factor of production, but some quantities are simply destroyed. This is the case of superabundant goods, which is in this case of scarce goods, which were considered mainly by Varras and Pareto. But the work by von Neumann is important for another reason. He was the first to employ a fundamental mathematical tool in order to prove the existence of equilibrium, the so-called fixed point theorem. We shall state this theorem afterwards, of course. He proved that the existence of equilibrium is implied by this important mathematical theorem. More recently, as we shall see, it was proved also the converse theorem. The existence of equilibrium implies the fixed point theorem. So they are, from a logical point of view, equivalent. It is no wonder that Varras and Pareto did not succeed in proving the existence of equilibrium, since this mathematical instrument, this fixed point theorem, was proved at the beginnings of the 20th century, after that our authors wrote their fundamental works. They had not the mathematical instrument which was important in order to prove the existence of equilibrium. Well, let us have a small break. Every recording will continue for about 15 minutes.